everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am back with another video, and this time we're going to be doing a beautiful set of pink nails as well as a fill-in. So as always, I'm going to go ahead and start off by removing the gel polish, and I also removed the bling. So as you guys know, to remove the gel polish, you will need to use a coarse drill bit, and also make sure that it's a safety coarse drill bit, only because it's so coarse that you could easily cut someone. So you want to make sure that you don't do that by using a safety one. And of course, I'll be sure to leave the link in the description to the one that I'm using here. So again, we're just removing the gel polish, just making sure that we look at our client's nail from different angles to make sure that we remove all of the gel polish before we apply the acrylic. Alrighty, so once we finish removing the gel polish, we're going to go ahead and push back those cuticles. So for this, I am using my Tammy Taylor Peel and Stick Cuticle Pusher. As you guys know, it has the little disposable tab, so you just use a new one every time you're on a new client. And after this, we're going to go in with a 180 sanding band to remove the shine from the natural nail. Remember, it's really important that you do this step, because if not, you will get lifting. Our natural nails produces natural oils, which means that our nail is going to be shiny. So if you look at your nails and you don't have any acrylic on, you will see that, you know, our nail is naturally shiny. So that's where you want to remove that little shine layer off the natural nail, because again, if not, you will get lifting. Alrighty, so now I'm just going in and dusting the nails off, and after that we are going to be using some glitter. So I'm using this glitter by Coco Glitter Bells, and I'll be sure to leave the information down in the description if anyone is interested. So once we picked our glitter out, we're going to go ahead and apply the primer. So I'm using my OPI Bondex. As you guys know, this is what I always use because I have a lot of it, but I do recommend that you stick to the same brand as your acrylic system. So after that, we're going to go ahead and start applying the acrylic. So as you can see, we're up close and personal. So I'll place my first bead closer to the cuticle area and then patting it down and brushing it down towards the tip. Remember that when you're doing this, you're really careful not to get it on the skin, because if not, you will get lifting. And then to clean around the cuticle area, make sure that you wipe your brush off first on a paper towel before you go around that cuticle area, because you don't want any more product getting on the skin. And as you can see, I was missing like a little piece on the side, or I had like a little gap on the side of the nail, so I'm just going in and filling that in. And you do want to make sure that when you're applying the acrylic, you're careful not to miss, you know, any spots on the side, because remember, if you have any little gaps in between the natural nail and the acrylic, any moisture will get trapped under there. And also, I do want to go ahead and say to excuse my nails, it's dust under there. And then that little black dot that you guys see on my middle finger, the other day I was at the gym and I was like working out with not a dumbbell, but it was like a ball, like a weighted ball. And I like threw it, and whenever I was going to like catch it, my like other finger went underneath my nail, and I basically like poked myself, and it was bleeding so bad. So I guess that little black dot is like a scab. Yeah, so don't mind that. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and keep going. So remember, we apply our bead closer to the cuticle area, pat it down, and then brushing it down towards the tip. And then of course, if you need to add some more, then that's totally fine. And then also, I forgot to mention that I am using my alpha brush in a number 9 as always, and I do have a promo code for them, so I'll be sure to leave that down in the description for you guys to use. And then as always, I'm using my Mia Secret acrylic system in the color pink, which is a really translucent pink, which almost looks clear once you're done. So as you can see, I'm doing the pinky last because that's the one that I'm applying the glitter on. So I'm going to be encapsulating the glitter into the acrylic because it is a chunkier glitter, and if you did it over the nail, it would come off. So I do a thin layer of acrylic, just as if we were doing a film. Brushed it down towards the cuticle area, and then after that we get a bead of acrylic and then dip that little bead into the glitter. Get a little bit and then just place it wherever you want it. So for these, we're gonna do just the tips of the pinkies. So I'm just placing it down, get a little bit more glitter just to where we get a full coverage on that tip. And then once we have that full coverage on the tip, we're going to go ahead and just blend it in right in the middle to where it's the ombre effect. Once we're done with that, we're going to go ahead and come back and encapsulate that nail with acrylic. And remember, you want to make sure that your acrylic is thick enough to where when you come back to file, you're not going to file that glitter off. So make sure that you're covering all of the glitter with your acrylic. And of course, you can use clear acrylic, but like I said, this pink is really translucent that it almost looks clear. So that's why I always use this one. Alrighty, so I'm going to go ahead and do the other pinky. So again, we placed a bead of acrylic closer to the cuticle area, brushing it down towards the tip. And then I go back in and clean around that cuticle area, get another bead and dip that bead into the glitter, place it right on the tip, and then blending it right in the middle to where it'll give us that ombre effect. And once we're done with that, we're going to come back and encapsulate that with the acrylic. Really nice and simple, and they turn out really, really pretty. So of course, you could do a whole set of these, just the tips, or you could do, you know, some nails with the full coverage over the whole nail. However you like, it's still really, really pretty. But other than that, for a normal fill-in, as you can see, we grab a bead, placing it closer to that cuticle area, patting it down. And when I'm patting it down, I'm pushing it like really close to that cuticle area, and then I brush it down towards the tip, and then I clean around that cuticle area. So you make sure that whenever you first place that bead closer to the cuticle area, you don't place it right on the cuticle, but really close, and then you pat it down closer to the cuticle, if that makes sense, because you don't want that acrylic on the skin. That's why you have to keep going back and cleaning up around it as well. So we're gonna go ahead and finish the acrylic application, and we will be back. Alrighty, so now I'm done with the acrylic, so I'm going in with a 100 nail file to reshape her nails. As you can see, they're already that coffin shape, but of course, after 2 weeks of wearing the nails, you kind of get that wear and tear on them, and the corners kind of round off, so we have to go back in and reshape the nails. And this is something that you don't want to skip, because your nails would not be that perfect shape that you want them. So again, make sure that you go back and shape them or reshape them, and then after that, we're going to go in and file them with the e-file. Alrighty, so once we finish reshaping the nails, I'm going to go in with my fine drill bit, and I'm using my ceramic one. And I'm just following the nails. So as always, I start around that cuticle area from the right side to the left side, just going back and forth until I'm able to see where the cuticle is, where the natural nail is, and where the acrylic is. And then also following the rest of the nail to make sure that it's all nice and smooth. But as you can see, whenever I say, whenever you're able to see the cuticle, the natural nail, and the acrylic, I don't mean that there needs to be like a super big gap, but just until you're able to see just a little beady piece of the natural nail. As you can see there on the ring finger, you're able to see the outline of the natural nail, if that makes sense. Hopefully it makes sense, but that's what I mean. That way you know that the acrylic is not on the skin and you won't get any lifting. Also, because there's no little gaps in between the acrylic, because if not, any like little drop of water or oil or your lotion that gets trapped underneath the nail is going to cause that nail to lift. So it is going to take a while for you to finally, you know, be able to do a set that doesn't lift. It's just a matter of practicing and doing it over and over and over and over and over a million times. It's not something that's going to come overnight. So if you're struggling with this part, because I know that that's kind of a process that we all go through, is preventing lifting, I just say just keep practicing, and in no time you will, you know, eventually get there. And if you're doing everything that you can to prevent lifting and it's still not, you know, working, I would recommend that you look into maybe a different acrylic system, because whenever I first started, I was having a lot of lifting problems, and I was literally doing everything that I could think of to prevent the lifting, but nothing was working. And then finally I switched to Mia's Secret acrylic system, and I had no issue after that. But at first I was using the OPI acrylic system. So as you guys know, OPI is pretty expensive, or it's on the pricier side. So sometimes it doesn't matter if it's $1 million brand. Sometimes, you know, they still have their issues, and Mia's Secret is a lot cheaper than OPI. So I thought that I would have that problem with Mia's Secret as well, but I don't. Only the cover colors, but I found a way to work with them. So again, just make sure you don't get discouraged. Just keep practicing, and eventually you will get it down packed. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and finish this off. So again, remember that when you're filing, you don't keep your drill bit in one spot for too long. Make sure you keep it moving the whole time around your client's finger, because if you keep it in one spot for too long, it's gonna cause friction and it's gonna cause your client's nail to burn. So make sure that you keep that in mind when you're working. So after that, we're gonna go ahead and buff the nails. And remember, this is just to get get rid of any of the scratches left from your e-file. So if you don't do this, you will be able to see those scratches through your polish. So make sure that you buff them really good. And then as you can see, I always run my thumb over the top of the nail to check to see if it's, you know, nice and smooth. If not, I go back and buff some more. But once we're done doing this, we're gonna go ahead and dust the nails off, wipe them off with an alcohol wipe, or of course you could have your client go wash their hands. Alrighty, so for the polish, the first color that we're going to be using is by Color Club in the color Little Miss Paris. As you can see, it's a really pretty light pink, and this one I actually got from my local nail supply store. It comes with the regular polish and the gel polish as well, which I'll be using both of those. So for this now, as you can see, we're only doing the tip. So to clean up around the small line and also the cuticle area, I am using my number 6 French brush by Alpha Brush. So I'll be sure to leave that information down in the description. And then for the rest of the fingers, we're also going to be using some of this Birthday Suit polish by Essie. And as you guys know, whenever I use this, I'm doing an ombre nail. So I'm doing that on the index finger as well as the thumb, I think. No, actually it's only this nail. And then for the other ones, I'm going to go ahead and use that same gel polish in the color Little Miss Paris by Color Club. So again, we're doing that ring finger, just the tip, the middle finger, the ombre, and then we're doing the thumb and this index finger with just the gel polish. Alrighty, so we're gonna let that cure for 30 seconds and we're gonna move on to the next hand. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the birthday suit polish by Essie on the middle finger, which will be the ombre nail. Once we're done with that, we're gonna go ahead and do the other nails with the Little Miss Paris by Color Club. And then also I'm gonna be using the same polish but the regular polish. Alrighty, so we're gonna let that hand dry as well or cure, and then we're gonna do the ombre. So for this ombre, I'm using a white, and I'm using that same light pink in the color Little Miss Paris by Color Club, but it's the regular nail polish. As you can see, it's a lot lighter than the gel polish, and it's supposed to be the same color. So you will see me come back and switch the color, and the color that I'm gonna switch it for is by Clean Color in the color flesh pink, and it's more similar to that Little Miss Paris gel polish. I'm not sure why the color difference is so big between that gel polish and the regular polish, if it's supposed to be the same, you know, color, but oh well. So again, this is in the color flesh pink by Clean Colors, and then that white is I believe I got that one from Five Below, and it's in the color Gesso. The brand is Funky Fingers, and again, I got that one from Five Below, and it's just a regular white polish. So again, I'm doing the ombre with the makeup wet sponge, and then I'm having to go back and apply some more of that pink to make it match that other pink that I have on the other nails. And then don't worry about getting it on the skin, because of course I'm gonna go back in and wipe it off with my nail polish and my little cleanup brush. Again, this is a French brush by Alpha Brush and a number 6, so I'll leave that information down in the description. And then also, if you don't want to get the polish on the skin, you could always get the liquid latex and just put it around the cuticle area, and then all you have to do is peel it off. But I don't mind just doing this with the nail polish and the little brush. So after this, we're gonna go ahead and do a second coat on this hand of that Little Miss Paris, and we're gonna put that under the light for another 30 seconds. Alrighty, so next we're going to go in and apply some strips. So I'm just using my gold striper tape. And as you can see, you want to make sure that for this, you cut the tape as close as you can to that nail. You don't want to have it hanging off, because if not, it will come off. And then as you can see, I'm patting it down, that way it sticks to the nail. Again, the most important thing is making sure that the strip is not hanging off the nail, because if not, it will come off really easily. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that tape, and then I'm going to go in with my IBD gel top coat, and then we're going to cure that for 60 seconds. Alrighty, so same thing for this hand. You want to make sure that you cut that tape really close to the nail. You don't want to hang it off, because I promise it will come off. I know I've seen a couple of pictures on my Facebook group where people use the tape and you can see it actually like hanging off the nail, and I know for a fact that it will come off even if you do a top coat, because you know, whenever I first started using it, I had no idea how to keep it on, but I found my little technique. So again, making sure that you apply it, it's not hanging off the nail, and then come back in and do a gel top coat over it. Alrighty, so I'm just going ahead and applying the top coat on the rest of the nails. And then before you apply the top coat on the nails with the striper tape, you want to make sure you go in with your hand file and just file the edges where the tape is to make sure that it's not hanging off the nail. And that's also a really important step, because even if you go back and apply that first top coat, if you have any pieces hanging off the nail, I know I keep saying that, but I promise this is the most important thing. You want to make sure you go in and file that off, because it will come off. And once you file the little rough edges off, then of course just go back in and apply a second top coat, and basically you encapsulated the strips into the gel polish. Alrighty y'all, so here is the final look. As you can see, they turned out really pretty. That pink and that glitter is just flawless. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at GetNail32, and I'll see you guys next time.